Bryonha Marie, and I am a friend of Josh Walden's, and I'm here to answer some questions for you. Training is the fundamentals. Training is the building blocks. Training is where you learn the rules of the playing field. It's super important. And it doesn't have to be, a specialized arts program. It can be just the first time that you sort of encountered the arts or whatever craft you've chosen. So it could be when you're a kid and you want to do community theater. It could be when you decide to get in a clowning class or anything like that. That's all training. That's all a part of your specific journey as an artist, and it's all important. For me, I think the training that you have in high school and college and just when you're starting out as a young professional is all super important because you're learning how the game works. And when you feel confident in those and you've mastered those rules, you can go and you can break those rules and you can go outside of them and you can rewrite them, but not until you have the fundamentals. I have 5-6 Broadway shows under my belt, and it doesn't matter. I still get very anxious whenever I hear the entr'acte for a show, whenever we get the 5-minute call, whenever the curtain goes up, I get very anxious. It's not nerves and it's not negative. It's an excitement for the energy that is about to transpire between the audience and the artist. And so because of that anxiety, the good anxiety, I tend to get off my breathing. I just get very excited. So instead of when you sing, you learn to sing from a very low, filling up your belly and, slowly breathing out and expelling. But when you're anxious, you don't do that. You breathe high and light and fast. So that's what I tend to do whenever I perform. It doesn't matter if I feel comfortable. It doesn't matter if I've done the show 100 times. It's always fresh, it's always new, and it's always a new audience. Sometimes, usually. There may be a few repeat offenders, but it's usually a new audience. So I'm using my technique all the time to remember to breathe deep and to stay on top of my breath and keep my palate raised, especially in emotional scenes. There was the time that I met Josh on, which was with Ragtime, the revival in 2009. I played Sarah's friend, and spoiler alert, Sarah dies. So I have to lead a really beautiful ensemble number at a funeral. And it's sad. It's really sad. And in my own life, I had just lost my mother a few months before we started on Broadway. So it was a difficult thing. It was a godsend because I got to work out that grief every day, sometimes twice a day, in a show on Broadway. At the same time, it was very emotional, and my cast was incredible and lifted me up and was with me every day when we sang that song. But I remember a few times, I wanted to lose it. I wanted to cry. I wanted to just let it all go. And as an artist, you have to remember when to restrain yourself so that you can allow the audience to have that experience, not you. I had to remember to hold that back occasionally and just remember, okay, Bryonha, yes, you can be there, but pull back a little bit. Let's get on top of this breathing. Let's be on top of our technique so that, I can cry and sing at the same time. But that's another thing. Technique is something you learn when you're in your training. And it's super important because you never know what's going to be thrown at you on stage. That it's going to be completely distracting to the rehearsal that you've already done and the way you think it's going to go on stage. It never goes that way. So it's really important to have that solid basis so that you can, with technique, so you can go from there at any time. privilege of getting to do master classes and workshops with a lot of college students. And as they will tell you, I have a lot of advice for them. But you know what? The thing that I keep learning, the thing that I keep having to tell myself is that your journey doesn't necessarily look like your friend's journey. You may be in a musical theater class and be very close and very tight with your friends, and you may lose them as friends later on in life. Or you may decide to go completely different ways. You may both leave the business, or one of you will stay in the business and one of you won't. Or both of you will stay and one of you will be very successful and one of you won't. There are so many outcomes, and I think it's just always important to remember that the journey is straight ahead, to keep your blinders on, to not be caught up and wrapped up in what your neighbors are doing and how quickly they're achieving things or not quickly, because your journey is your own journey and it does not look like anyone else's, because you are special. Your light, your being, yourself, your sound, your instrument. There is nothing else like it. And because of that, you have a tailor-made journey just for you, and you cannot compare it to your friends. So remember that, stay focused, and stay in the game, because good things come to those who keep working and keep on top of their craft.